Hello guys, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. So in today's class we are going to start a new chapter of class 12, that is solutions. So we'll start with that. The solution is the second chapter of our physical chemistry part in our syllabus. So what is a solution mean? What does a solution mean? In our environment we come across certain substances as we have classified in our class 11. That is, matter can be classified into two types of mixture and a pure substance. So what we observe is when we come across certain substances, most of them are usually mixture of one or two components. We won't come across pure substances rather than often. So whenever you come across that kind of substance which have more than one or two components, we call them mixtures, right? So now a solution is a type of mixture. Solution is a type of mixture where one or two components or maybe more than two components combine with one another. Okay, they combine with one another in order to give a homogeneous mixture. Okay, solutions are those which combine with one or two components, which is formed by a combination of two or more components in a homogeneous property. What do you mean by homogeneous here is, homogeneity is nothing but the property of that particular solution is same throughout the complete parts. Like for example, if you consider a sugar solution. So sugar solution, it has sugar dissolved in water. So there sugar has been completely dissolved in water and the complete solution will be homogeneous, right? So homogeneous solutions are those which have a equal distribution of particles or components in other component. So for a solution, by definition, it has two parts. Solution has two parts. One is solute. The other one is a solvent. So depending upon the physical state of solute and solvent, we have different types of solutions. Okay. So what is solute and what is solvent? You might have learnt about solute and solvent in the previous year, that is in the class 12 first chapter, Basic Concepts of Chemistry, in which solute is defined as the component which is dissolved is called solute, and the component which dissolves the solute, which dissolves other components in it, is called solvent. So a mixture of solute and solvent gives us solution. Okay. So now for this case, in this particular chapter of solutions, we are going to discuss about a solution which is prepared by combining one solvent and one solute. So this is in this complete chapter of solutions in your class 12, we are going to discuss only about the binary solution. So binary solution is a solution in which we have one component of solute and one component of solvent. Usually solutions may contain more than two solutes. So what happens is, in this particular chapter we are going to discuss about only those solutions in which we have one solute component and one solvent component. Okay. So now what happens in this components is, solution is, you have to explain the concentration or the terms of physical nature of these solutions of solute and solvent properly. Like if I say if you have to consider concentration wise, if you have to say about the physical concentration, you can say them as dilute solution or concentrated solution. Usually whenever you carry out certain experiments in your laboratory, you will come across solutions which are dilute. That is nothing but they are added some solvents in it in which they dissolve, or they might have taken a concentrated solution where you haven't at all added any solvents in it. So in that certain cases, what happens is, if you consider dilute or a concentrated solution, you cannot explain properly how much dilution is observed in that particular condition. So therefore, you have to have a particular physical expression or physical quantity which can explain the concentration of the given solution. Like for example, as we have discussed in the class 12, those are several types like mass percentage and mass percentage, and we come across mass by volume kind of mass by volume kind of concentration, and then we have mole fraction, molality, and molarity, etc. So we have certain these types of different concentration expressible terms. So in this, what you have to observe is, we have one more type in here is parts per million. If we have very minute traces of solute dissolved in a solvent, then we consider it as a parts per million type of expression. Like if you consider for concentration of a given fluoride present in water, if fluoride content in water is 1 part per million, if one fluoride is present in 1 million parts of water, what happens is it decreases the tooth decay. If 1 part per million of fluoride is present in water, it decreases the tooth decay. If 1.5 parts per million of fluoride is present in water, it turns out to be poisonous. Okay, so therefore we have to have a better expression for expressing a concentration of a solute in solvent. That is nothing but the concentration of solutions. So using these certain different expressions, we can determine the concentration of a given solution either in terms of mass or in terms of volume or in terms of parts present, or it may be molality, or it may be molarity, or it may be mole fraction. So before all doing this, we'll just now discuss about different types of solution. So as I said earlier, a type of solution is expressed depending upon its physical nature of solute and solvent. Depending upon the physical nature of solute and solvent, we have three types of solution. One is a gaseous solution, the other one is liquid solution, and the other one is solid solution. Now, for what are these three types of solutions is, gaseous solutions are those in which the solvent component is a gas. If you consider gas as a solvent particle, so those are called gaseous solution. So gaseous solutions have the other three, that is gas, liquid or solid, dissolved in gas medium. Like for example, if you have to consider for a gaseous solution where gas as a solvent is present in a gas as a solute, where both solute and solvent are gas. If both are gas, we can have an example of oxygen in nitrogen. Oxygen gas present in nitrogen gas. That gives us an example for gaseous solution where solute is gas and solvent is gas. Next, if the solute is liquid, you can consider an example of chloroform, CHCl3 in nitrogen gas. Chloroform is a liquid, so we dissolve liquid in nitrogen gas to form chloroform gas, which gives us anesthesia. Next, solid in gas. For a solid in gas, we can consider camphor, one which your father uses for while praying, camphor. So these camphors, when dissolved in nitrogen gas, they give away the aroma. Okay. Next is liquid solutions. So liquid solutions are those in which the solvent is liquid. Liquid phase are those where the solvent is liquid and the solute will change over out to the gas in liquid, liquid in liquid, and solid in liquid. Now for the example of gas in liquid, you can consider HCl in water, or you can also consider oxygen in water, which the aquatic animals use those oxygen for breathing. Okay. Next, for liquid in liquid kind of solutions, you can consider alcohol in water. That might be an example for liquid in liquid. Now, if you have to understand solid in liquid condition, if you are dissolving solid in liquid, we have multiple examples for that. We can consider for that glucose in water. Okay, glucose in water. Next, for the solid solution, the last type of solutions, that is a solid solution. So where we use solid as our solvent. The solvent will be solid. Usually what you think is, sir, how can a solid form a solution? You always have understood, we have always have been learned that solutions are those which might be in a liquid state, right, but not in a solid state. So whenever you come across an adsorption process, those adsorption process also gives us a solution type itself. It is a mixture of two components. It is a homogeneous mixture, right? So solids also are kind. Solid solutions are also type of a solutions itself. So in this, if you consider gas on solid, that is nothing but presence of hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas dissolved in nickel metal. So if you take a sheet of nickel and pass hydrogen gas on it, hydrogen gets adsorbed on the nickel, giving a homogeneous layer cut out on this nickel metal, which we use for reduction of certain organic compounds. Next, if we have to consider for liquid on solid, we can consider sodium amalgam, where liquid mercury is taken on sodium metal. Liquid mercury is dissolved in sodium metal, which gives us sodium amalgam. Next, for the solid in solid, better example, that is solid in solid, we can have better example as alloys. Many alloys are nothing but solid in solid solutions. Okay, so these are the different types of solutions which we come across in our day-to-day life. That is our gaseous solutions, where the solvent turns out to be gas, whereas liquid solution, the solvent will be liquid, and for the solid solution, the solvent will be solid. So these are the different types of examples for these three different gaseous solution, liquid solution, and solid solution. So now, once you have understood these different types of solution, let us know certain physical methods in order to explain the concentration of a given solution. We have certain different types of expressions which can be used in order to express the concentration of the solution, out of which the first one is mass percentage. First one is being mass percentage. So what is this mass percentage? So if you haven't observed, or if you haven't learned much about the solutions expression in class 11, I'll put a description of the video which I explained in the class 11 class chapter, of which we discuss about solutions expressed in the reactions. So you can go through that. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just explain certain rules, definitions in terms of mathematical expression. So now for the mass percentage of a solution, is equal to mass of the component which is to be dissolved, mass of the solute component, mass of solute divided by mass of solution, mass of solute divided by mass of solution into 100. This gives us the mass percentage. So mass of solute divided by mass of solution gives us mass percentage. So what is mass percentage? It is the percentage of mass of solute taken over the mass of solution. Okay, if you dissolve 10 grams of solute in 100 grams of solution, that means if you have 10 grams of solute in 100 grams of solution, then the mass percentage of the solute is 90%. 10%, sorry. If you take 10 grams in 100 grams of solution, it is 10%. Like for example, if you dissolve 10 grams of sugar, in 10 grams of water, 90 grams of water. If you dissolve 10 grams of sugar in 90 grams of water, that gives us total 100 gram of a solution, right? It gives us 100 grams of solution. So 10 by 100 into 100, that gives us 10% composition of the mass percentage of the solute. So mass percentage of a solute or a solvent, you can also calculate it for a solvent. So mass of the solvent divided by mass of the solution into 100. And for this case, it will be 90%. Okay. So if you have to determine the mass percentage of a component, it is given as mass percentage is equal to mass of solute divided by mass of solution into 100. If you have to determine the mass percentage of solvent, then it will be mass of the solvent divided by mass of solution into 100. So this is about mass percentage. So next we are going to discuss is about mass per volume. mass volume. Second one is mass volume. Mass per volume of the component. So mass per volume of a component is given by, it is equal to mass of the solute over volume of the solvent. Mass of the solute versus volume of solution. You can also say that if you have to consider for a component, I will give a general equation, that is, if you have to find out mass over volume of a component, that is mass of one component divided by volume of total components, into 100. So this not 100, this mass of one component divided by volume of total component gives us mass over volume of a component. So this is the second type of concentration expressed. This is in the where we consider mass of one component divided by volume of total component. Next is third one, that is volume over volume component. So what if you have both solute and solvent in case of volume? If you have both volume of solute and solvent, then it is given as volume of one component divided by volume of total components. Volume of one component divided by volume of total component into 100. So this is also considered to be multiplied by 100. So the volume by volume component is also called as volume percentage. So this is also called as volume percentage. So volume percentage or volume over volume concentration is given as volume of one component divided by volume of total component into 100. So this is what happens when you take 10 ml of ethanol dissolved in 10 ml of ethanol dissolved in 90 ml of 10 ml of ethanol dissolved in 90 ml of water. So that gives us volume to volume concentration, or you can also say them as volume percentage. Now for mass volume percentage, what happens is, if you take 15 grams of solid 15 grams of solid component, let us say sugar, in 85 ml of water, that gives us a respective amount of mass over volume percentage. Okay, so this is how we consider mass percentage, mass over volume, and volume over volume. Next is a very important very important topic in which a concentration is expressed, that is parts per million. This parts per million is very useful if you have very minute traces of solute present in a given component. Like for example, consider I said, so parts per million, which is also denoted as ppm. So what is this parts per million? If you take a component, let us say solution component of this type, and you divide it into 1 million parts. If you divide a given component in 1 million parts, such as like this, so you'll get very minute traces of each part. Okay, so parts per million of a given component is said as the number of part of the given component divided by total number of parts of overall components. Like if I say one fluoride in water, if it is found to 1 part per million. So as I said in the previous introduction, if fluoride is present in 1 ppm of water, it means that for 1 million parts of water, you will have 1 part will be replaced by fluoride. So if you consider 10 parts of water, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you consider 10 parts of water and in that if one part is fluoride, then it is said as 1 part per 10 of water. Okay, so out of 10 parts of water, 1 will be fluoride. Similarly, if 1 part per million means for out of the whole 1 million parts of water, we have 1 part replaced by fluoride. Okay, so that is what parts per million say. So how to calculate the parts per million is ppm, parts per million, is equal to number of parts of component divided by total number of parts of all component into 10 power 6. So this 10 power 6 is million. Okay, 10 power 6 means million. So therefore parts per million is equal to number of parts of the component which you have to find out and the total number of parts of all component. If you consider a ore concentration, let us say FeCrO4. So FeCrO4 may contain 1 part per million of fluoride. Okay, so clearly we have iron, chromite, oxygen and fluoride. So we have multiple components. So therefore we have to calculate all those parts as the total number of parts of all component. Okay, so part per million means number of parts of one component divided by total number of parts of all component into 10 power 6. If you consider a particular ore which has fluoride impurity in it, so it will be given as 1 part per million. If you consider water itself, then it will be 9,99,999 amount of parts of water in 1 part per million of water which contains fluoride. Okay, about 9,99,000 excess sum of water parts will be found in fluorides of 1 part per million of water. Okay, so this is what parts per million says. So parts per million mean the number of parts of the given component divided by total number of parts of all component into 10 power 6. So 10 power 6 nothing but million. So next is fifth one, that is mole fraction. So this mole fraction, since we generally can't always calculate the other masses in terms of mass percentage or volume percentage, we consider a very important expression for concentration, that is mole fraction. So why do we use mole fraction extensively is, in laboratories you need to know about the number of moles present in a given component, or if you have to weigh the certain amount of solute has to be dissolved in certain amount of solvent. Okay, in that particular case the 3 expressions for concentration is very important. One is mole fraction, second one is molarity, and the third one is molality. So out of the first one we discuss is mole fraction. So what is a mole fraction? If you consider a binary solution, if you consider a binary solution of component A and B, if you consider a binary solution of component A and B whose number of moles used are, is Na and Nb. If the number of moles of A and B taken for this complete solution is Na and Nb, then mole fraction is denoted by the symbol X. If you have to find out mole fraction of A, then it is given by the denotation XA, that is X is mole fraction and A is mole fraction of A. Next, for mole fraction of B, it is given as XB. Okay, so this is how mole fraction of a component calculated. So what it means is, mole fraction of a component is equal to number of moles of that component divided by total number of moles of the solution. That is, mole fraction of A is equal to Na divided by Na plus Nb. And for XB, it will be equal to Nb divided by Na plus Nb. So this is how we calculate mole fraction of a given component of binary solution. Next is molarity. Molarity is a solution. Molarity is defined as number of moles of solute. Sixth one is molarity. molarity is denoted by symbol capital M. Molarity M is equal to number of moles of solute divided by divided by volume of solution in liter. Volume of solution in liter. So M is given as number of moles of solute dissolved in 1 liter of the solution. So molarity is defined as number of moles of solute dissolved in 1 liter of a solution. Similarly, for molality, what we do is, instead of taking our solvent in terms of molality denoted by small m, so in molarity we consider volume of the solution in liter. In molality, in the small m, it is denoted as number of moles of solute in mass of solvent in kilograms. So we use solvent in terms of kilograms mass, and number of moles dissolved in it is calculated as molality. Remember, molarity is number of moles of solute divided by volume of solution in terms of liter. Okay, and molality is the number of moles of solute in mass of solvent in terms of mass, that is in terms of kilograms. So remember these two, this is solvent and this is solution. This is kilograms of solvent, this is liters of solution. Okay, so these are the several methods of expressing concentration of a solution. I hope you have understood about all the topics that I explained. So if you do understand these concepts, please do subscribe to my channel and share this video among your friends. And thank you for watching.